What is up, fellas? Gotta make sure everybody can hear me. How's everybody doing tonight? Getting some last minute stuff set up here, because I'm terrible. And let the time sneak up on me. Mr. Mickey B, good to see you tonight. Joe Habib, how you doing? Joseph Youngblood, Mr. Jerry, Pilot Jerry RC, Jeff's Custom RC, Nate, Dave in Kentucky, hello sir. Mr. Randy, how is everybody doing? Dave Martin Graff, I am doing well. This is a nice Waco. Obviously, we're going to be talking a little bit about the Waco tonight. Oops. So, I did get a chance to fly the PT-17 and the Waco, and you guys will be able to check that out soon. Something that's cool about the Waco here, and this was a suggestion that was made on the last live show. So obviously last week we did the virtual fly-in. This week we're back to standard, format live shows. Carlos, Luca, and Davi, good to see you guys. Thanks for coming by. So a suggestion was made on our last live show that, the Waco is a scale airplane, right? So I decided to go ahead and do a gloss finish on this because I've never seen a Waco with a dull finish. So I did a gloss finish on this. And the other thing that I didn't want to do, because this is a scale airplane, it did whack off the beard. So the other thing I wanted to do, because this isn't a scale airplane, is I didn't want to put the Dynam logos all over it, but someone had made the suggestion like, hey, put a big Air Marshal logo on it. And, I'm sure in this setting you can't see it, but if I turn it around and tilt it a little bit, you can see there on the wing, I got a big old Air Marshal logo on the wing with the wings and everything, instead of the big Dynam logo. And it's not, that I don't want to have the Dynam logo on there. And like I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, I don't necessarily have anything against Dynam, but I don't want it to not look scale, right? So Dynam never made any Wacos. I haven't made any Wacos either, but it's my plane, so I figured it would look nice with the Air Marshal logo, and it looks super sharp. And we did get some video of the Waco and the PT-17 flying, and we're gonna have those videos up here soon. Oh, RC Video Reviews is here. Good to see you, buddy. So, I know he's not part of the normal, rotation of shows yet. But if you guys don't know who RC Video Reviews is, much like I do a lot of Spectrum stuff, and I have my, AR636 programming series and the AR637 programming series. Thank you, Tim Tutot. I appreciate it. I want to encourage everybody that's interested in OpenTX even a little bit, or FPV flying, long range flying, to check out RC Video Reviews. He's got a great channel. He also does a lot of Dynam airplanes as well. and he's been doing some Zod airplanes here recently. Everybody go check him out. His channel's been around for a while. And, you know, I know a lot of the guys here tune in, but, you know, he also does great live shows where he answers a lot of questions. He's also got a Discord channel that he's got set up more like a forum. A lot of activity going on there. So check him out, guys. RC Video Reviews. Good folks. Good folks over there. Mr. Nate, thank you, sir. Rolando, it is my pleasure. My pleasure. Yeah, yep, Shadow. The RC Video Reviews. This is the Waco. The PT-17 was a couple of weeks ago. We got the Waco out tonight. And I want to talk about it a little bit, right? So I did get to fly the PT-17. Yeah, they're all yellow, man. They all look the same. I did get to play with the Waco and the PT-17, and I want to give you a little bit of my outtakes on how they fly compared to each other, really, because they are very similar airframes. I mean, well, in the fact that they're both biplanes, but there's a couple of differences, and the way they fly is completely different. So the PT-17 has larger ailerons that are only on the lower wing section of the biplane. The Waco has coupled ailerons on the top and the bottom. They're smaller control surfaces, but they end up effectively, you know, you end up with more control surface area. So you get better roll rate from the Waco. Which does make a big difference. Both of them have great flight performance, and the Waco, surprisingly, was, and I'll say that after I got the trim situation figured out, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but once I got the trim figured out and got it flying nice and straight, both the PT-17 and the Waco fly fantastic. The PT-17 is a much more, you know, scale type of airplane. You're not going to do a lot of crazy stuff with it, where the Waco, especially as you get into, you know, your high rates and even going further than high rates, you know, put the control arm on the innermost hole of the control surface horn and the outermost hole on the servo horn, and you're going to get some extra control surface throw, and you can even increase the throws in the radio as well. And you can throw this thing around all day. It is a ton of fun. And in the new V2 format, where the original Waco had a 650 kV motor, the new V2 Waco, which this one is, now has an 800 kV motor. So you're going to get more speed, you're going to get more torque to be able to pull you straight up. And this thing does have a ton of vertical climb capability. It's got great roll rate. It's a great plane. A ton of rudder authority. It's got a big old rudder on the back. It's just a fun plane all around. And between the two, you know, between the PT-17 and the Waco, I have to say I like the Waco a little better. It suits my flying style a little better than the PT-17. Certainly not saying that the PT-17 is bad, because it's not by any means. You know, there's a lot of things about the PT-17 that I like better, as far as like scale appearance and the, you know, the heavy duty landing gear struts, I think are better than what comes on the Waco. You know, the scale flying wires and the wings, I think, look better. You know, the overall construction of the PT-17 is better. It's just a better thought out model, where the Waco is still, you know, very much old school Dynam as far as some of the, you know, funky things that are happening with it. And let's go ahead and talk about those. What's that, Nate? The MiG-29? TNRC. So the rudder on the Waco is, or not just the rudder, the entire vertical stab was bent to the left like a big banana. It had a curve to it, like a curve. And you're probably going to be able to, you know, you may be able to see it better if I hold it up, you know, and I'll see if you can even tell in the camera. If I hold it like that, I don't know if you can see kind of how cocked that rudder is, but it's shifted to the right quite a bit to compensate. You know, so rather than trying to bend the vertical stab and get it straight, I just compensated with trim. So I've got quite a bit of right rudder trimmed in to get the thing flying right, which is a little funky, but it works. The whole fuse was a banana. Yeah, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. You know, I mean, Dynam still has a long way to go for things like this, where parts that are thinner tend to be warped, and I just don't get it. I don't know why that is. It's just funky. Just funky. Roach Coach Hellies, how you doing? George Watts, welcome to the show. F you, Kenny. And that is true. The foam for Dynam models is pretty good. You know, it's not bad at all. And the paint, you know, leaves a little bit to be desired. It's not the best paint in the world, but I always clear coat them anyway with polyacrylic, you know, some Minwax water-based polyacrylic. And that makes a huge difference on these Dynam models. So, you know, just keep that in mind. If you're gonna grab one up, you know, be prepared to, you know, to deal with some weird things. But as we always say, they're a modeler's airplane. You get what you pay for. And if you're willing to put in a little bit of work, you're going to get a great flying airplane at the end of the day. Is it going to be the best looking airplane on the history of the moon? No. It's not going to be the best looking airplane ever. It's not going to be the most scale airplane ever, but for the budget conscious RC pilot that wants a decent airplane at a decent price, Dynam is a good option, especially when you buy them from Big Go Hobby. Because all of these issues that we're talking about, I mean, Big Go's willing to take care of you. So don't be too hesitant to pull the trigger on a Dynam airplane. You know, knowing what you know, if you're willing to put in a little bit of work to, and you don't even have to do that. I'll also say you don't have to do the extra work. You don't have to clear coat them. You don't have to, you know, do all this extra stuff. You don't have to change out the servos. They'll fly fine on the servos, but they're a little bit slow, you know, so you may get a little sluggish performance. The stock servos do strip out easy, but they work fine until the day that they strip out. You know, typical nylon gear servos. There are no as far as stripping out, they're no better or worse than other nylon gear servos that I've used. They're nylon servos. What do you expect? So, you throw in some high-speed digital metal gear servos in this thing, and you're going to get those quick surface movements that you're used to in other planes. Sure, you may end up spending, $80 and a can of clear. But any other plane in this price range is probably also going to have nylon gear servos that are pieces of crap. You gotta weigh them out. And to be honest with you, right now, if you want a Waco and you want it at a competitive price point, Dynam is really the only game in town. So with that in mind, if you're looking for a Waco, look down in the description for this video and you'll find a link to Big Go Hobby. You can click that link, get you a Dynam Waco, and it pays a little commission back to me. And we need all the support we can get around here. Oh, are they out of stock everywhere? Yeah, that could be a problem. Nate, yeah, the quality-wise, the Stearman is the better plane. The PT-17 is a surprisingly well-executed Dynam airplane. It looks great. The scale features are fantastic. The model went together perfect. I didn't have any issues with the assembly. Everything on that airplane was great. I didn't have any issues at all. Nothing like the old FW190. I didn't have to, drill out the tail wheel. I didn't have to do any of the weird stuff I had to do on the PT-17. I didn't have to do any of the weird stuff I had to do on the FW190. In fact, both of these, the Waco and the PT-17, went together real easy. The Waco went together easier than the PT-17 because the Waco doesn't have any kind of like spur or spar cover. A lot of Dynam models, you put the spar in and then you have a cover that you have to glue over the spar. The Waco doesn't have that. So, in that respect, the Waco was a little easier. I didn't have to mess with it, And the lower wing assembly on the Waco is one piece. So that was easier to deal with. So, it's a good model. It's a good model. And really any of the Dynam models that don't have retracts are probably going to be the easier ones to deal with, where most of the folks that I know that have Dynam models, their biggest complaint is retracts are terrible. And I know that which one is it? The new, that new jet that they got. It's not a new jet. The Meteor V2 is supposed to have better retracts in it. And they've tested the retracts hundreds of times. I get that. But what I've noticed is they've still got the press-in struts and plastic trunnions in those retracts. And I think more people had a problem with that than they had with the mechanics of the retract. They just break. So, between the E-flite A10 and the FMS Avanti, I'll tell you right now, truth still matters from the heart of a Catholic. For grass hops, it's going to be difficult to get a better jet than an A10. Not just because they fly great, But for grass ops, a lot of jets have cheater vents on the bottom, or they have the inlets, the intakes for the jet is going to be, pretty close to the ground. The A10 is built to not have to worry about all that. So, you've got the nacelles for the motors up high. I think that the A10, just generally speaking, is going to be a better grass ops plane. With regard to the struts and how they handle the grass, I haven't flown an Avanti out of the grass myself. Not the FMS Avanti. The free wing Avanti, which you see here, it's an 80 millimeter, and it handles grass ops like a master. That thing has awesome suspension on the struts. I mean, you could run that thing through a gravel parking lot and take it off. It's awesome. All right, so all the folks that are chiming in talking about the E-flite A10 landing gear being a piece of crap, hey, take their word for it. I'm just speaking generally as an airframe. I would like the A10 over the Avanti as a grass ops plane. But if the landing gear on the A10 is not going to hold up well, and the motors on that E-flite A10 are not going to hold up well, skip it. But if you're willing to spend a little more and skip the FMS Avanti and go for a free wing 80 millimeter plane, get the free wing Avanti or the T-33 or the L-39. All three of those have incredible landing gear that can take the roughest of rough grass, and they all fly incredible. I mean, they're very stable airframes. Easily, and some people disagree. That's fine. I could easily recommend any of those three as a first EDF. Some people don't like it. Some people do. But I think the free wing Avanti is just a beautiful, beautiful plane compared to the FMS. I mean, I'm sure that the FMS is great, but between those two, this is the way I would go every single time. Yeah, everybody does have them, Shane. That is a fact. Mr. Dennis Farley, how you doing? Planes, archery, and table tennis just got done with his homework. Welcome to the show. We are glad to fill your entertainment needs after getting done with some hard homework. Yeah, I had to, I mean, I didn't have to shave, but, every now and then it just starts to look a little raggedy, and I'll cut it down, let it grow back out for like a month or two, cut it down again. I mean, y'all have been around long enough to know the cycle. Thanks, Reckham. Yeah, man, I love this Waco. the first time I took it up, I wanted to fly it without doing anything to the vertical stabilizer because I knew that it was going to have some kind of weird effect on the plane. I thought for sure that it was going to make it want to turn to the left, but it turned to the left a lot. Like it was rolling to the left with that kind of bananaed curve in the vertical stabilizer and the rudder. So I jammed the right trim on the rudder, which calmed it down a little bit and compensated for the rest with some right aileron. And after that, I went ahead and engaged the gyro because, on my initial trim, I don't like having the gyro turned on. I want to get the plane up in the air, get it flying good, without turning on any kind of stabilization, none of that. Get it flying well without stabilization, and then turn on the stabilization and see how it does from there. And this plane did not disappoint at all. It was actually a pretty windy day when we went out. I got it up and I got it flying. We got the trim all situated, somewhere towards about 75% of using up the first battery. And I think I brought like 4 batteries out or something, for the Waco that I was going to be flying that day. And, about 3/4 of the way through that first battery, I finally got the trim all straightened out, got it flying nice and level, and then flipped on the stabilization. And what a huge difference that made, especially because it had, we had some wind that day. It calmed this thing right down. I mean, it was straight as an arrow through the air. I mean, it was locked in instantly. And the other thing that I was pleasantly surprised with, and some of you guys that watch the channel for the Spectrum stuff, this is where I may disappoint some people, but this was the first airplane that I've flown an FR Sky receiver in. Barry Campbell, thank you for becoming a member of the channel, sir. I definitely appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, as I was saying, and I know I've got the Spectrum shirt on and everything tonight, full representation of telling you that I did not use Spectrum in this airplane. This is the first airplane I've flown in a long time. The PT-17 being the other exception. With the PT-17, I took that one up with the Detram DT9 radio and a Detram MSR 66A stabilization receiver, which actually performed really well. I just don't like there's something about that DT9, and I don't know if it's the way that the algorithms for the Expo are set up. It doesn't feel right to me. So I may play around with it a little bit. The radio functioned fine. I didn't lose signal or anything like that. And the stabilization, once I got it trimmed out and got the gyro turned on, the stabilization on the PT-17 worked great. But there was something about the way the gimbals feel, and how far I had to crank the sticks with the standard amount of expo that I use on every other model that I've got, So typically I'm doing, either 100% or 70% throws, and I always have 20% expo no matter what. Some people do it other ways, some people do that as like a percentage of the rate is what they set as their expo. Everybody's got their own system. I use 20% expo no matter what the rates are, and it's always worked well for me. And I set that up on the DT9, and I did not like it. So it is what it is. Now, Jermaine Spencer, hooking it up with the Zoom fund. Oh, so for those of you that may have skipped out on the last couple of Friday night chats, because of the switch to Discord and Discord's kind of funky handling of video, the good news is that we've got some awesome members of the community who have volunteered to keep the Zoom Pro subscription alive. So we are switching back to Zoom for our big Friday night conferences. So be sure you join us on Friday after the Dave's RC live show for our Zoom conferences. Everybody liked Zoom. It works a lot better. You know, Discord is great for voice chat, but Zoom, I mean, come on, Zoom is Zoom. It's much better for video chat, and we can have up to 100 people in there. So come join us on Friday nights. We're switching back to Zoom, and as always, it's a lot of fun. Oh, so as I was saying, the Waco here is the first plane, not the first plane that I've flown with the Radiomaster, with the TX-16S, but it is the first plane that I have flown with an FR Sky receiver. I wanted to try it out. I've been kind of, you know, I had a couple of ambitious things that I was doing, you know, as far as the AR636 programming series and the AR637 programming series that really helped, you know, that had me focused on Spectrum for a long time, for several months. You know, those were two kind of back-to-back projects. You know, I think I had like a month between the time I finished the AR636 series and when the AR637 showed up at my house, and I got started on that. So, you know, there were several months where I was focused solely on Spectrum stuff. And then, you know, at least a half an hour where I was focused on Spectrum stuff this past Saturday at about 2 a.m. when I called Ryan to help him set up the mixes on his gripping canards. So, even back then, I wanted to try OpenTX, and I wanted to try the FR Sky receivers. I just hadn't, I hadn't gotten the opportunity. In fact, when I bought the IX-12, some of you may know this, some of you may not. When I bought the IX-12, it was a toss-up between getting the IX-12, a DX9, or the Horus X10R or something like that, X10S, the FR Sky Horus. And at the end of the day, I ended up going with the IX-12, as most of you know. So but I wanted to try out OpenTX even back then. And that's been a couple of years ago now. But not necessarily the FR Sky version of it. You know, so when the Jumper T16 came out, I was kind of excited about that one. And then the Radiomaster came out, and I don't know, it was the touchscreen on the Radiomaster. I don't know why, because the touchscreen doesn't even work. And there's, you know, and I'm glad that I waited because the Jumper T16 had some problems with ribbon cables and things like that. So at the end of the day, I'm glad I waited. The TX16 though has been fantastic, and you know, this plane was the first opportunity I've had to play around with something other than like a Spectrum receiver as far as stabilization goes. And it was awesome, you know. So the S8R, which is what I have in here, And I know that for those of you guys that are familiar with the S8R or the FR Sky receiver line, you'll know that the S8R is an 8-channel receiver, and this is only a 4-channel plane. It's what I had. And to be honest with you, if I buy any more FR Sky receivers, I'm going to get S8Rs because they're like $5 more than the S6R. The S6R, I think, comes in around $26, $27. The S8R comes in at like $33. You know, for an extra $6, I get 2 more channels, and why not? You know, if I ever have to take them out of the plane, I've got a lot more options than what I can put that receiver in. So yeah, I'm wasting a lot of channels, but you know, whatever. No, look, I love the IX-12. I'm glad that I did the IX-12. Sorry I keep getting up and down, you know. You guys should be all right with that. What's up, Ray? How you doing, brother? So, yeah, man, the IX-12 is a great radio. And I'm glad I went that direction because I'd been using Spectrum for years. I knew, you know, basically how all of the Spectrum functionality worked. And the IX-12, while different than the DX series of radios before it, it was familiar enough that when I got into the interface and started looking at things, all the names were the same. It was just in different places. You know, it's kind of like going from, say, you know, Windows 7 to Windows 10. Is it really that different? People that really know Windows can tell you that Windows 7 and Windows 10 really aren't that different at all. You just got to know where to find the stuff. It's all there. Does it look different on the surface? Yes, but all the functionality is still there, and that's how I feel about the IX series radios. You know, does it look different? Yes, it does. It's way different. The user interface doesn't look anything like the DX series, but all the functionality is still there, so you're really not missing out on much. Awesome, Jermaine. I appreciate it, buddy. Yeah, the IX-12 is expensive, no doubt. No doubt. Look, I love my wife. She just gave me $5. So it came. Here's how this is awesome. She just took $5. Threw it into the YouTube machine and gave me back like $3.50. But I love my wife. Baby, you know that YouTube takes 30% of that money, right? So the $5 you just put in, I only get 70 cents on the dollar back. It is worth it. It's fun. And thank you. I like super chats. Look, I love community contributions no matter how they come in. You know, YouTube obviously likes it if you use super chats because they get 30% cut on super chats, and that's fine. Am I gonna play that beautiful bean footage? Which video footage? Of this airplane flying? Of the wonderful Waco? Not yet. I'm gonna do a whole video. You know, we're gonna have whole videos available for people to be able to watch. and I don't want to show him the video yet. Mostly because it's a pain in the butt and I have to go around to the other side of the camera to start up the video now. It's not that I don't want you guys to see it. It just, you know, it is what it is. Hey, Imperial RC Works, I agree. But, you know, like I said, I appreciate contributions no matter how they come in. They are all wonderful. So, what Amy brought up, though, it brings me back to something that I wanted to talk about tonight. You know, which is kind of the... Oh, yeah. Yeah, we stream every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern. So, Air Marshal Mondays is every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern. I think this is our 46th episode, so we're 6 weeks away from, you know, it's not 1 year, but it's a year worth. The 1 year is actually coming sooner than that because I think we took a week off when we were moving, and we took a couple of 2 or 3 weeks off, you know, for personal reasons a few months back. And those that were here, y'all know why that happened. So, but yeah, we're creeping up on our 52nd episode. You know, a year's worth of Air Marshal Mondays. The other insano thing is that. And I'll tell you, I started streaming like as soon as I started the channel, basically. Before I ever did the AR636 series, I started doing these streams. And it's kind of grown into a bit of a monster. I mean, it's a machine now, and you can't stop the train. Back a year ago when I started doing these things, I think it was a Monday night. I don't know what I was doing. I was throwing around some ideas, you know, because I wanted to start making more YouTube videos. I had a couple of videos that I'd done already, and they were on the Freewing F-18. And I think I had done a video on maybe the Bigfoot. I don't even know if I'd done the video on the Bigfoot yet. Maybe I had done a video on the Viper jet. But those were really like the first ones, you know. I did the Bigfoot, I did the Viper, I did some video footage on the Blue Angel. And folks started watching the channel. For, you know, and it was awesome. And yeah, Shadow, that's right. I won the Bigfoot from Dave's RC. Dave's RC kind of kicked off this whole YouTube channel because he sent me the Waco. And I love him for it. And man, what a great little plane. You know, I still love that thing. It's one of the, you know, in the smaller bush plane category, it's one of the best out there. That's a great little thing. Yeah, I did the Viper landing gear. I did the Viper wing crack. You know, and there was a Friday or it was a Monday. It was a Monday night. And I had renamed the channel, you know, because a lot of those were, I don't remember what the heck I called the channel in the beginning. Maybe I did call it the RC Air Marshal. I think I did because I had posted videos under my other YouTube channel, which is just me. You know, it's just my name, Dave. So I posted a couple of videos, and we're obviously going to talk about this more here in like 6 weeks. I just am just kind of reminiscing now, which it's just crazy. Because most of you guys that are in here in the chat, you guys have all been here since the beginning, and it's awesome. You're kind of like my Monday night family. It just all really exploded from there. So I went live one night, and there was only like 6 of us in there. It was a really small deal. And at the time, I was throwing around the idea of kind of joining in, and there weren't live shows every night. There certainly weren't 2 live shows every night. And I just went live on a Monday night, just random. And 3 or 4 hours later, I finished it off. And, somewhere during that, somebody was like, hey, you should do this every Monday and call it Air Marshal Monday. And I was like, that's beautiful. It's done. And, and then, who knew how long I was going to keep doing that? And here we are, 46 episodes later, still going. I know that there's plenty of folks that have been doing it a lot longer than I have. Ryan is like the king of RC streaming, and then you got like GB, and Kenny's been going a little longer than I have. Dave's RC's been going a while. But I'm thrilled and thankful to everybody here that we're still going today. 46 episodes later, we're still, that train is still moving, man. So that's awesome. Here's the other thing that is pretty cool. In that 46 episodes of Air Marshal Mondays, like I said, 46 episodes when we were just going live kind of on accident. I don't even think I really meant to go live, but I was. And people started popping up, and I was like, oh crap, I thought this was a test. And there were really people in there watching. And we just talked for hours. But, back then, 46 episodes ago, man, I may had 50 subscribers. And that's the other thing that's really special is we're on track where by the 52nd episode, it won't be a year contiguous, but by the 52nd episode of Air Marshal Monday, we're on track to have 2,000 subscribers. And for an RC channel, that's incredible. To go from nothing to 2,000 subs in that first year is a testament to everybody here tonight. I'm sure that some praise will be thrown at me, and I won't accept all of it. You guys are just as much a big part of this as I am. Because you guys are the ones that give me the motivation to keep doing it at all. So thank everybody that's here. Thank you all. It's weird, right? I don't mean to, to kind of run down memory lane here, but I just thought it was, kind of fitting. And the reason for that, because I always have like these long stories that lead into something else, which is why I like doing these shows, right? Because it allows me a platform where I can just talk and you bitches just have to listen. No one gets to talk back. So you can hear the story play out the way I intended it to. So, thanks, Jermaine. And Jermaine Spencer, thank you, sir. for the $25 super chat. You are awesome, my friend. SD Ute fan, welcome to the show. So, the reason I brought all that up was to circle back around to what I'm going to talk about now. And it's the frequency at which we've been releasing videos here lately. You know, because I know that there's a lot of folks out there, you know, in particular, like Ryan's channel, both Ryans, you know, so GB Linden, Pilot Ryan, the Boozers, you know, those types of channels that you typically see like reviews from. While I was certainly inspired to do, you know, YouTube RC by watching those guys, my channel was never started with the intent of being a review channel. We do reviews every now and then, but that was never the intent. It was always to focus more on the educational side of things and bringing meaningful tutorials that would help the community get started with this hobby, or to be able to get more out of this hobby from the equipment that they have on hand. And better utilizing the equipment that they have. You know, some people have stuff that they didn't even know that it could do something, and maybe a video that I put out at one point or another helped people learn how to use you know, either an AR636 or an AR637, or maybe taught them a few tricks with an IX12, you know, gave them the information about a battery charger. I mean, I've always been far more concerned with the educational side of things than the entertainment side of things. Shadow, I've got it sitting right here. That may be why you asked. It actually is going well. But lately I've been having some issues with my the radio that I fly it with. My Tango 2 has been having some funky problems that I'm working through with Team Black Sheep. And Team Black Sheep the Team Black Sheep support has been fantastic. So they're awesome. Mr. Tim, Flying Times, thank you, sir. I absolutely appreciate your support. Yeah, Imperial RC, I absolutely get where you're coming from. 34 years ago is about the time that I started in RC. And you know, now it's getting to be that time where I can say to a lot of folks, especially surface RC guys, the surface RC crowd and the drone crowd is typically younger. When you can say to them, like, I've been doing RC longer than you've been alive, I mean, that sounds like some Kenny shit, but man, unfortunately it's the truth. So, you know, that's where I started too. I started with surface a long time ago. You know, Kenny's the guy that you expect to be able to say, I've been doing RC longer than you've been alive. Or wait, Kenny's the guy that you expect to be able to say, I've been doing RC longer than you've been alive. Let me get back up to normal height. So, Shadow, that's true. Hey, it's Sorry, Kenny. Mr. Dave Bledsoe, good to see you, man. I'm not an Amazon. I'm like 6 feet tall. That is hard from Amazonian. So yeah, I started with Surface a long time ago. No, Kenny started with airplanes. Kenny started with like a chisel and a hammer, and had to craft his first radio from stones to make it work properly. Yes, I know that, George. Thanks. So, yeah, I started with Surface. I was doing Tamiya. I was doing Team Associated. I never touched Losi stuff because Team Associated and Losi were like big competitors. I did a lot of Kyosho cars back in the day. I did some Schumacher cars back in the day. I did some HPI stuff back in the day. And, did electric when it was still nickel cadmium. I wanted more runtime, so I switched over to nitro. And at some point, I just decided to sell off the entire Surface RC fleet and get into airplanes. And that was about 5 years ago. And now I'm starting to do Surface stuff again. Because lipos changed the hobby for everyone, where we don't need to run nitro for those long run times, unless you're running jets. I'd say jets are the exception to the rule, where EDF jets have incredibly short run times, around 3 minutes. You guys know that, where a turbine is obviously going to give you a lot more run time. But just in my opinion, and again, they're like buttholes and everybody's got one, and they all stink. I don't like flying jets a whole lot longer than 3 minutes, because they, the speed and everything, after about 3 minutes, I start to get shaky fingers. Good Lord. I wouldn't know that they all stink. Some might smell like roses. But I have to make what I think is a fairly safe assumption, that all buttholes smell nasty. Oh my goodness. Rusty, our dogs are morons. Y'all know. That's right, Mr. Bledsoe. Bleached and steamed? Bleached and steamed. Who is that? Was it Gwyneth Paltrow that they had some stupid news article that she steams her bunghole? Like, what the hell? What the hell? Who does that? Oh, that's funny. I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about that. Overly sensitive roller. I don't know that you can adjust that. I don't know that you can adjust the roller sensitivity. I know that there's a way to adjust like how many clicks a click of trim gives you. You can adjust like trim sensitivity, but I don't think that you can mess with the roller sensitivity. You just got to be easier on it. which oh, that's funny. Yeah, it shouldn't move by itself. You know, some questions, Imperial RC works, some questions are better for, you know, the engineers that actually work at Horizon to answer. I don't think I have a good answer for that question. And I myself would have to defer to Spectrum Tech Support to find out if there's a way to adjust that. All right. So with all of the stuff in mind about, you know, trying to strike that balance between, you know, offering good education, good educational value, and good entertainment value, I think that one of my big concerns, at least for me, is putting out content, and you know, for a lot of you guys that have been here for a while, you know that a lot of times the most you've seen me is the once a week for the stream. I don't put out a lot of videos when I don't have, you know, some kind of topic that I'm working on. Whether that be the AR636 or the AR637, I get a new plane in every now and then, you know, maybe once a month. I'll get a new plane in, but for the most part, it's just weekly streams, and I love you guys that keep coming back. And a lot of the audience that we build is based off of content that just continues to bring in a lot of views. You know, those series that we've got for the 637 and the 636, you know, keep bringing in a lot of new viewers all the time. And the tutorials that we do have. And what I'm kind of curious about, you know, while I've got, you know, the core audience, the folks that watch the channel the most, I believe, are the people that tune in every week to watch Air Marshal Monday. And we love you guys for that. You know, what I'm curious about is he got hooked by the airbrush marathon. And that's awesome, Marshall, and I appreciate it. What I'm kind of curious about is of the types of things that you guys have seen me do in the past, you know, what kind of stuff do you guys want to see more of? You know, what was it that we did that brought you to the channel? You know, do you guys want to see, you know, some comprehensive stuff on how to make the IX-12 work? Do you want to see some comprehensive stuff on, you know, I mean, I've done the AR637s. You know, I really don't want to step on the toes of channels like RC Video Reviews and get into OpenTX, because, man, his OpenTX stuff is out of this world, and I could never, you know, me getting into OpenTX would be like RC Video Reviews starting to do Spectrum content. You know, like, we'll stay in our swim lanes. You know what I mean? But there's a couple of videos that I did want to make about OpenTX where I've had people ask questions like, hey, can I get the Admiral receiver to work with OpenTX? Because it's kind of funky the way that you have to set up the Admiral programming. You know, the Admiral, what is that thing? The RX600 SP has some funky steps that you have to do inside the Radio Master to get it to function properly. So that was one where I wanted to do a video. But that's kind of what I wanted to find out is, what do you guys want to see? You know, specifically for me, you know, where I may not be the best RC pilot, but I do think that I bring, you know, good stuff to the table. You know, do you guys want to see more airplane stuff? Do you want to see more of me talking geek, talking about batteries, talking about charging, maybe doing a series on parallel charging and how to do it safely? You know, the geekiness behind charging. You know, do you want to see me doing more stuff with different types of transmitters? You know, because I'm not done. You know, the education is just as much for me as it is for the viewers. So I want to be well versed in Spectrum. I want to, sorry, the stupid dogs. I want to be well versed in Spectrum. I want to be well versed in OpenTX. I want to be well versed in Futaba. I don't really give a crap about Tactic. Ray, you seem a little biased. You seem a little biased there, Ray. So, people want more UMX dogs, and they want more Amy. So Joe Pellegrino wants to know, am I going to do anything on the AR630? Joe, my answer to that is, if I do anything on the AR630, it's going to be a single video only. Not because there's anything wrong with the AR630 or because it doesn't warrant a series of videos, but I said a series of videos and my phone starts going crazy because it sounds a lot like, you know, Siri. I don't want her to hear me say that again. She thought I was talking to her. Anyway, Joe Pellegrino, to get back to that, the 630 is a great little receiver, but I think it only requires one video. And the one video would be to tell people, here's what the AR630 does, here's what it's all about, and to program it, watch this playlist. I've got the 630. It's great for what it is. There are some caveats to that, which I do plan on putting in a video soon. But programming it is exactly the same as an AR637T. There's no differences at all. It programs exactly the same as an AR637T. So if you've seen my AR637T programming series, absolutely, that is how you program the AR630. Exactly the same. So in that respect, I'm not going to be doing a whole series on programming the AR630 because I already did it. Next Monday is Dave's birthday edition. I forgot about that. So next Monday, I will be, 40. Next Monday will be my 45th birthday. That should be a lot of fun. Imperial RC Works, I think that would also be fun. How to set up a plug and play with Spectrum, the Bindify pilots, if all the programming is already done. Yeah, George, I think that is one of the big things that I want to be able to do. In this plane, it wasn't really all that conducive. The AR637T was kind of that mindset with the E-Flight Commander. I never put it this way. I never expected or intended for the AR637T series to go more than, say, 3 or 4 videos deep. It just got more and more complex the more I played around with the receiver. In order to explain all of the different aspects of programming or of forward programming in a easy to break down, kind of Reader's Digest version for each video. I could have made 3 or 4 hour-long videos, which would have sucked. But that was kind of the idea with that. And then I was going to do the same thing with the Pilatus PC21, and the PC21 ended up crashing, and that sucks. So I need to get the PC21 fixed, and when I do get the PC21, the new fuselage, which I've got ordered, but it's on back order right now, so when the new PC21 fuselage gets here, George Watts, I plan on making that exact video. Yeah, Marshall White. The funny thing is, I started getting. I had my first gray hair when I was like 15 years old, dude. So this is 30 years in the making. Yeah, 15 is when I got the first gray hair. Having all white hair. So what was fun, when I made Chief, when I made E7 in the Navy, I had been in the Navy like 7 or 8 years. I had not been in very long at all. And because I basically, my hair wasn't white like it is now, but it was very much salt and pepper. There was not a lot of pepper left in it. It was more gray than it was silver. But I think I was only 29. I think I may have been 28 or 29 when I made Chief, when I made E7. And in the Navy, it's kind of a weird deal, right? So you go from wearing, for enlisted anyway, that shift from E6 to E7 in the Navy is one of the biggest shifts, in my opinion, in the entire military, because everything that you are, as far as uniforms go, recognition from afar, all of that stuff, that all changes instantly. The day that you get promoted from E6 to E7, the day you put on those anchors, everything that other people see about you changes. Because you're not wearing the same uniform anymore. You're now wearing the khaki uniform. You're wearing gold stuff everywhere instead of silver stuff. Your warfare insignia is silver, but you're now wearing all the same all the same uniforms that officers are wearing. So you basically take your entire sea bag, throw it in the trash, with the exception of like your underwear and t-shirts and maybe a few pairs of socks, and you get all new uniforms issued. Well, not issued, you actually have to buy all new uniforms. So the next day, you're walking around, and the day before you looked like some guy that had been, an E6 for way too long, because I had all gray hair, and they just saw me as this old gray-haired E6. And even though I'd only been in the Navy like 8-9 years, right? So I put on E7, and I go from being like this retarded E6 that'd been in the Navy forever and could never get promoted to like the wisest chief in the Navy. which was really funny. Imperial RC Works, no, it was, No, we're good. I've got kind of a receding hairline, but for the most part, it's all still there. And it turned gray pretty evenly over time. You know, I didn't have like cow spots or anything like that. That would have been terrible. Michael Statler, same to you, buddy. Oh, is tomorrow Veterans Day? If it is, then happy Veterans Day to all of the veterans out there, to myself, to Michael, to Pilot Ryan, Shadow Ops, Dave's RC, Joseph Youngblood, I believe, was a Navy man. Everybody that served in our fine, fine military. Happy Veterans Day to each and every one of you. See, that's how I know that Fred Barron, as much as we love him, is really a loser. because everybody knows that the Navy is the only real branch of the military. I'm just kidding, man. Everybody that has served in the military, you know, I have the largest, the most profound level of respect for everybody that has served in the military, and I'm sure that that's reciprocated by 99.9999% of other people who have also served in the military. But it will never take away this sense of like sibling rivalry between the different branches of the military. It always exists, it always has existed, and it will continue to exist long after we're gone. That people in the Navy will get made fun of by everybody else, and the people in the Navy will make fun of everybody else. It's just what we do. And the Marines eat crayons. The Army guys dig ditches. The Navy guys all, you know, we all party way too much. The chair force, I mean, there's something to make fun of on every single one of them. Every single branch of the military, there's something to poke fun at. Submariners in particular, the whole 100 men go down, 50 couples come up. I mean, man, there are jokes to be told about every branch of the military, and we all give each other a huge load of crap. But at the end of the day, I also know that those guys that I give a huge load of crap to, that I would put my life on the line to save theirs at a moment's notice, and I know that they would do the same for me, because at the end of the day, no matter what branch of the military you were in, unless you're just a giant piece of crap, all veterans are the best friends that you could ever have. All of them. Even you Army guys out there. The best friends that you could ever have. And, you know, we will go through thick and thin to find answers. We will freaking literally die, you know, to help in any way that we can. So it's just a trait that seems common amongst all people, no matter what branch of the military you served in. So to all of my fellow veterans, I bid you a hand salute and happy Veterans Day, fellas. See you, Roach Coach. Oh, yeah. Fleet FMS, or Fleet Marine Service Corpsman. Man. Or FMF. It's Fleet Marine Force Corpsman. FMF Corpsman. who are the corpsmen. The Marines don't have any hospital people. They don't have nurses, doctors, corpsmen, anything like that. So when the Marines get sent out, their unit gets sent out with a member of the Navy who is an FMF, or Fleet Marine Forces corpsman. He's a sailor, because the Marines, like it or not, they're still Department of the Navy. So we send Navy guys out with the Marines. Those Navy corpsmen that get sent out with the Marines come back, and most of them, after they serve time with the Marines, come to be docs on submarines. So I've met a lot of FMF corpsmen, and they are awesome. Awesome dudes. And, man, I mean, they know their stuff. They know their stuff backwards and forwards. Hangar 51, I got to tell you, Kenny, the RC friends that I've got are some of the best friends I've had. That's another awesome, kind of fraternal brotherhood that I am proud and happy to be a part of. You guys have also taken care of me when I was down. Horrible things happened, and you guys were there to kind of prop me up and keep me going. So yeah, I'm forever grateful to the RC community as well. Imperial RC Works, yes, they are incredibly loud. The Whoop style drones that have solid ducting. They have some that have little holes in the ducts where they're not as loud, but they're also not quite as effective. Yes, this drone is very loud. No, this drone does not haul ass. It's maybe 40, 50 miles an hour. It's not this is more of a camera platform. I want this thing to be a platform to hold my GoPro, and do, aerial footage with my GoPro. It didn't. I didn't buy it to chase airplanes. I didn't buy it to do freestyle. I mean, it was a very purpose-built piece, and it does what I intend it to do very well. It's an awesome, very stable platform. For holding up that GoPro, where it's a small, light, compact frame. You can kind of run it through things without getting your props all jacked up. So you can run it through woods and things like that, without having to worry so much about your props getting eat up by trees or branches. You're not going to be breaking a lot of props with a setup like this. So that's some of the reasons that I have really enjoyed having a hey, look at this. I also want to give a huge shout out to George Watts, who made a contribution via PayPal. Thank you, George Watts. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'll tell you, that was one of the things that so that was Amy's telling my stories. Kirsten Dunst we met in Alaska, not Washington. But I did almost get eaten by a sea lion in Washington State, not Alaska. Yep. Have a good night, Shadow. We will see you soon. So anyway, guys, yeah, that was one of the things that I wanted to talk about tonight was, what do you guys want to see? And it sounds like everybody's kind of happy with the same stuff that we're doing, which is good because it's kind of what I want to keep doing. While I do have affiliate agreements with Horizon, I've got affiliate agreements with BitGo, I don't necessarily get the same stuff that everybody else gets. You know what I'm saying? So I don't get when Ryan gets a bunch of airplanes, when a new charger comes out or new tech, and I will never complain about what I get or I don't get. So don't get me wrong, but I was kind of I was kind of surprised when I didn't hear anything about the NX series radios. I would have liked to have received one of those to to kind of do a deep dive in and show people how to navigate through the NX series radios. But it's not certainly not a dig on the guys at Horizon. They work with their their affiliates in different ways. So obviously, my relationship with Horizon is going to be a lot different than say Wesley's or Ryan's, or even Rich Baker, RC Informer, or RC Geek. We all do something a little different. So when new planes come out, I don't expect to get them. It's not what I do. I'm a little bit. It's for me. I am providing a different type of content. I don't really do reviews of airplanes. When I get airplanes, I talk about them. I fly them. It may be called a review, but it's more of an overview than a review. I like to dig in and show you guys the ins and outs of the airplane. I'll show you a little bit of a flight demonstration. We'll talk about the good stuff. We'll talk about the bad stuff. But I've always been far more on the, this is how you do this type of stuff. And I think that the tutorial style of videos that we make on the channel are kind of what make this channel special and make it where it fits nicely in that crowded space of airplane reviewers. How can another channel in the airplane space survive? Be an airplane channel that doesn't do airplanes. Does that make sense at all? So, George Watts, I agree. There's a lot of people that do Horizon airplanes. And, one of the reasons that I did the AR637 series and the AR636 series was that for as long as those receivers had been on the market, the 636 had been on the market, there were maybe 2 or 3 other people outside of Spectrum themselves that made any content showing people how to use those receivers at all. And they've been out for years. And I was kind of tired of it. So I was like, damn, I'm going to do this. Even though it was towards the end of the lifespan, the end of life of the 636. But the fact remains that there are 100,000 or more of those receivers in the wild. And those videos will remain relevant for a long time. And that's why I jumped on the 637 as soon as it came out. So now people have a solid resource for forward programming that they can reference for years and years and years to come. And I want to get one of the NX series radios so I can, dig into the NX series radio and show people and again have another solid base of videos that people can reference for years to come. And while it's not the traditional approach for an airplane channel, like I said earlier, my intent with this channel was never to be a guy that uses influence to get you to buy something. It was never to be an influencer. It was always to be an educator. So while I have enjoyed and will continue to enjoy doing working on airplanes from BitGo, working with Horizon and the different things that they send to me, especially when it comes to the technology aspect of things. The intent of the channel was always to be more educational than it was to influence you to buy a product. So while I do have affiliate links, and every time someone uses those affiliate links, it does offer a bit of a commission to the channel, and I certainly talk them up. I promote my links, especially towards the ends of my videos. But I mean, let's face it, most people don't watch a video all the way to the end. But the links are in the descriptions, right? Some people use them, a lot of people don't. And I encourage everybody, especially with the number of folks out there that have affiliate links and affiliate marketing arrangements with different vendors, that whoever it was that helped you in deciding that you wanted to buy product X, use their link. A lot of guys, they watch Pilot Ryan when he does new airplane reviews. And if you're going to buy that airplane after watching Ryan's review, by all means, use Ryan's link. What I would ask is that, if I've helped you with programming some Spectrum stuff, or maybe, looking at a BitGo airplane, maybe you're thinking about checking out that PT-17, maybe you're looking at checking out the NX series Spectrum stuff, maybe I've helped you out with making a decision on an AR-637, or you're going to buy an AR-637 because you watch my programming series and now you think it's going to be easy to set it up, which it is. Use my links. It is what it is. And each of us that make these videos for YouTube, I think we're all doing it for noble reasons. And I think that some of us just want to show you all the new stuff that's out there, which is awesome. I think that folks like, and I almost want to smash my head against the can here for even mentioning this, but I think that the RC sailors do a great job at exposing a large, broad range of affordable you know, budget conscious RC models to a huge audience, just like Flight Test. You know, Pilot Ryan brings you some of the best, you know, kind of no nonsense flight reviews on the latest and greatest airplanes on the market, which I think is awesome. You know, RC Geek makes incredibly well done content on some of the latest and greatest airplanes on the market, and from a very well explained perspective, can give you the information to get the most out of those airframes if there's something that's not quite right about them. I love watching Chris Wolf's content. I think that his videos are incredible, especially when there's things that aren't quite right about an airplane. You know, this guy is loaded with knowledge on how to fix things. So his stuff is great. You know, Rich Baker has good information. The Boozers have great information. And we all do something a little bit different. You know, I haven't brought up GB. You know, GB has great videos as well. And we're all, you know, we're all doing something a little different. Dave's RC, you know, Dave's RC brings something really different to the channel, which is like this unfiltered, you know, completely like unafraid perspective on everything. I mean, he just tells it like it is, doesn't give a crap if it hurts your feelings or not. I mean, Kenny, even Brian Phillips with his 4-hour videos. Man, some people are going to watch 4 hours worth of stuff. But not me, personally. I'm not going to watch 4 hours worth of video, but I'm sure that there's people out there that watch every minute of it. And I know that if you fast forward to the good part, that there's probably something really worth watching in those, because some Brian Phillips videos that I watched have been really helpful. You know, when they cut right to the bread and butter of this is why this video exists, and I'm going to show you how to fix this using whatever, you know, and it's like, awesome, man, let me watch that. But man, when he gets like those 4-hour videos of I'm going to set up everything and you're going to watch every turn of this control rod in real time. Oops, I'm out of paper towels. I'm going to go upstairs and try to find my paper towels. I'll be back in 10 minutes. You know, and it's like, dude, don't leave. That's why these videos are 4 hours long. Talk about not editing. Good God, man. So Dana, I just look all over the place, man. Sometimes I'm looking at the microphone up here. I mean, what am I supposed to look at? It's not like there's a crowd of people. It's not like there's a crowd of people sitting here in front of me. In the Tube Deep. Love that dude. In the Tube Deep don't give a crap. And man, I remember, what was this, man? It's had been probably about 2 months ago. He was out on the beach with his SU-30. Guy flies an SU-30, like, I don't know how many of them he's had. If it's still the same one, I'd kind of be shocked. But he goes to the beach and flies an SU-30 almost every day. And some dude comes out, and he's like, hey, that's kind of loud. And I mean, In the Tube Deep is like instantly clapping back with like, oh, you mean the same one that I've been running down here for months? And it's just now too loud for you? Why don't you go back inside? You can't hear it if you're in the house. I love that dude. I think that stuff is so funny. So, Dana, like I said earlier, me venturing down the world of doing OpenTX videos would be like the guy that runs RC video reviews jumping into the pool of making Spectrum videos. I know what I'm good at. I know what my swim lane is. And the only reason that I would ever do OpenTX videos is to show people how to use OpenTX with Spectrum. This is how you use OpenTX to program Spectrum receivers. You know what I'm saying? and very specific to Spectrum and OpenTX working together. Oh, Imperial RC works. I mean, I've got a multi-protocol module in my OpenTX radio, and that's pretty much all there is to it. You bind and go. But there are specific settings inside OpenTX that allow OpenTX to work, and that's what I want to show is, hey, do you have this type of Spectrum receiver, and you want to know, does multi-protocol work with it? And the answer is yes, it does. And just show people how to use the multi-protocol modules and the specific settings within OpenTX that get those receivers working the way you would expect them to, because it's not 100% intuitive. It doesn't work automatic the way that you think they would. It does work exactly how you think it would work, and to get it to work the way we need it to, there's special things that you have to set up inside OpenTX.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Yep.
Baby girl wants to say hello.
Bought an E-Flight Night Timber and it had issues right off the bat. Prop would not turn until 30% and took forever to wind up. Factory had Smarty SC set to heli mode. Oh, that's kind of weird. Did they have it set up with like a governor? Like an idle governor? Because that's really weird that they would set it up that way. I mean, it's easy enough to reset those Smarty SCs, but one of the things that they don't send you with those Smarty SCs unless you buy it separate, and to me it's worth buying separate. The Smart ESC programmer has like digital readouts and stuff like that, and little buttons it's very easy to navigate. But it's really easy to reset those things and set them up the way that you want with the little programmer box. And maybe I should do a video on that too, like how to program your Smart ESCs, because there's not a lot of content out there on that either. The programming box makes reprogramming those Smart ESCs awesome. Very easy to do. Very easy. What are you doing? You can see her face.
Oh, you can't get her face? Just her face?
If you move her to that way just a little. Like her head is on the side of the camera.
Oh, there's a pretty girl. You wanna go outside?
So, anyway, guys, we're getting to be about 10 minutes remaining on the show. That's right. Y'all got to see a UMX Doberman head.
I'm sorry.
Dogs do make anything better. And you know, I'll tell you, as much as I don't want to say that I don't want to do it, right? Because I would love to do, you know, some of this stuff for you guys. I'm trying to think of like an NX. I would have to do like an NX10. And maybe I'll be able to, because I know that a lot of folks. Here's the thing, right? I don't want to make a lot of video content on DX series transmitters, because DX series transmitters have been on the way out for a while now. And now they're gone. So if I'm going to make new content, it's all going to be IX and NX series stuff. Absolutely, we're all going to come over and watch Guniac's show, because Guniac is fantastic. And so anyway, I want to get an NX series radio, but I don't want to remake like the entire AR636 series. I don't want to remake the entire AR637 series. But for those videos in the series where Spectrum X Bus and JR X Bus, where do you think Spectrum got it? They're the same. So yeah, you know, I want to do some content on the NX series, and at least from what I've seen, I have not put an NX series radio in my hand yet. The NX series interface is basically the same as the DX series interface. All the commands and everything are in the same types of locations, and the biggest difference being that the NX series is in color, where the DX series is in black and white. So I think I'm going to get an NX series radio at some point and do up some of these videos, because one of the things that I get some criticism on, as warranted or unwarranted as it may be, you know, is I get a lot of criticism from people that want to do the AR636 or the AR637, but all of the stuff that I do is showing you doing it on an IX12. And I think that there's some misconception out there that, you know, because I'm doing it on an IX12, that somehow it's different, or it can't be done on a DX or you know, any other kind of radio. Like, well, that's bullcrap that you're showing it on an IX12. I mean, it works the same on a DX9 or a DX8 or a DX6. What difference does it make? I'll tell you, I use an IX12 because it's really easy for me to throw the screen of the IX12 right into the computer and record it directly, and make it very easy to show you guys exactly what I'm doing without having a camera, you know, watching the front of the radio. That's a pain in the butt. So that's why I use the IX12 for all of my programming videos, because it's very simple to show you guys what's going on. And if you just pay attention to what I'm doing, you know, a lot of that information translates directly one-to-one between the IX and the DX series radios, because a lot of the functionality inside of them, it's the same names, no matter which series of radio it's using. If it's using the IX or the DX or the NX, they all share a lot of the same nomenclature and a lot of the same names. So anyway, it is what it is, man. And if at any time anybody has questions, I want people to know that I am available through several different mediums. If you look down in the description of my videos, the last couple of live ones, I've got some social links at the bottom. I may start leaving my email address in there as well. You can always leave a comment on any of my videos. You can contact me on social. You can find me on Instagram. Send me a DM in Instagram. Find me on Facebook. Find me on Twitter. You can join the RC Air Marshal Discord channel and leave me a direct message in Discord. There are several different platforms that you can get in touch with me if you want to ask specific questions. And I think that there's probably plenty of people that are here that will be able to attest to the fact that if you get me on Instant Messenger or whatever, that I will be glad to help you almost all the time. But here's the thing: as the channel matures and we have more videos out there and more comments are being made, the fact is that I miss comments on the videos every now and then. So if you leave a comment on the video and I don't see it, I apologize. The best way to get a hold of me now is to find me on one of the social avenues. Either send me a direct message on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or whatever. Find me in social, and that's the best way. Ken Sprouse, I've already got a fairly good one on flight modes, but it is more directed towards how to set up those flight modes in the AR637T. But I may be able to translate that into, just a standard video on setting up flight modes and the different kind of functionality that you can get with them. But keep throwing those ideas out there, guys. Because I think that kind of stuff is very helpful, and it kind of drives where we can go with the channel and what kind of videos you guys want to see and what you think would help the community at large. And the other question is, while you may see a lot of people using an NX series radio, do you guys want to see us get an NX series radio so we can show you how to use it? Because I think that would be cool, and I want that to kind of be the next big spectrum thing that we do on this channel, is the NX series radios. And I think to do it proper justice, we kind of need to go big or go home and get the NX10. So, what do you guys think? So yeah, Imperial RC Works, I am totally down with doing like flight modes and setting up mixing and setting up dual rates and expo and all that stuff. I just would like to do it on an NX series radio, as opposed to a DX or even my IX. Because there's so many folks that say, there's so many folks out there that don't want an IX series radio. I think they're awesome. But maybe there's room for both. So if we can get our hands on an NX series, again, preferably an NX10, because I don't want there to be any limitations on what I can show you. There may be limitations on what you can do with yours, but from an educational standpoint, the one that I use to perform the demos should be capable of doing everything, if that makes sense. What's the difference in what? The DX and the IX? Or the DX and the NX and the IX? I mean, mixing is mixing on Spectrum. They all basically work the same. Dana, that's right. Damn it. Ah, Captain Photon wants a used Spectrum radio. I'll tell you what, Captain Photon, so the next stream that we do, and we got to cut this one short here because it's 10 o'clock and Ray's going live in 15 minutes. The next one that we do, and this sounds crazy. If it happens, great. If it doesn't, that's great too. But I'll tell you guys in advance, so you hear it all here first. On the next stream that we do, if we bring in enough, and this is crazy, it's never going to happen, but if it does, that's awesome. Because I don't think Spectrum is going to send me an NX Series radio. But if we get enough money brought in through PayPal, which, by the way, thanks to y'all's generosity, we had the winner from last week, Mark M. His $225 gift certificate to Horizon Hobby is on the way, which is awesome. Horizon still hasn't issued it. I don't know what takes them so long to issue gift certificates, but it takes forever. But as soon as we get them, they're already paid for. They're being processed. I actually ordered them up last Tuesday, and I still haven't gotten them issued yet. What the heck? But the order is still, on Horizon's website. But I'll tell you what, I don't think Horizon's going to send me an NX10, but if you guys want to see it, I will buy it. And next week is the birthday bash. If we can get up enough PayPal donations in next week's show, I will buy the NX10. I'll pre-order the NX10 on the show. That's a lot of PayPal though. So we have to have a lot of people. If we have 100 people watching, it's like $5 each. That's nothing, right? Anyway, guys, and if I get an NX Captain Photon, I will send you my DX6. What do you think about that? Oh, and Captain Photon, if I get the NX series, an NX10 to review and to start making NX series tutorials on the channel, what Captain Photon will get is this special Stormtrooper edition of the DX6 with black sticks, white front face, all black and white, Stormtroopered out DX6. I know you probably want better than a DX6, but it's free, dude. But hey, that is all pending too on whether or not we can round up enough money during the birthday celebration next Monday for me to pre-order an NX10. If I pre-order an NX10 next Monday, I will box up this DX6 and I will mail it to Captain Photon. Everybody here sees it. He asked first. Captain Photon will be the winner of this here Stormtroopered out DX6, which is actually a pretty sweet radio. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna head out. Mickey B, thank you, sir. Come back next week and hit it up again. Mickey B, thank you. All the people that sent PayPals tonight, thank you. To everybody else, we love you all. I don't have time to do the member shout outs this week, and I apologize. We'll get back to that next week. Tune in next week. It's our birthday celebration where I will be 45. It's actually on my birthday, which is pretty cool. We'll be here celebrating with you guys, and I promise next week, instead of airplanes, we are going to have cervezas and maybe cake and some beautiful bean footage that we're going to show to you guys, and we're going to do a birthday celebration, RC Air Marshal style, with beer and cake and all the things that you like to see. Anyway, guys, be sure to tune in to Ray's show here in about 10 minutes. Sorry. Yeah, be sure to go and head over to Gooniac's channel and watch Ray's show here in about 10 minutes. Otherwise, we will see you guys next week. I love you all. Thank you for coming by, and we will see you next time. You guys all have a wonderful week, and thank you for tuning in.